Hello, gentle viewers. This is Avindian, and welcome to the second episode of Crusader Kings 2, the tutorial series. Last episode, we talked a bit about how characters work in the game, and this episode is going to focus on managing relations with characters. Now, you may have been, if you are a veteran player of this, I don't know why you're watching this series if you are, but nonetheless, you may have been staring at the top of the screen and saying, but Avi, you ignored all of your alerts. That was intentional. But that's what we're going to focus on now. First of all, we're going to lose one of our titles when we die. Why, you ask? Because of our succession laws. There are multiple ways for... Oh, interesting. We can instantly change our succession laws. That's actually really good. But it only works for a specific county, which is difficult. And there's something to be said for simply waiting to do this until after we've created a new title, like a duchy. Or a duchy, if you will. But in any case, right now we are in Gavelkind. Gavelkind means that when we die, our property will be divided among our sons. And Gavelkind is the worst. It's really, really bad for holding large empires. We can have elective Gavelkind, where people get to vote. But this is going to change. This is going to make issues later on in the game. Shut up. That's seniority. Or, excuse me, that's elective Gavelkind. Seniority is the oldest male votes. Which is a bit challenging. Because what it means is you're going to go through several rapid transitions. If you only have the oldest people inheriting, it goes from like 70 to 65 to 50, and they'll just keep dying. And it's the oldest member of the dynasty. Why would the oldest child not like this law? Primogeniture is what was standard in most of the medieval world, which is the oldest son. Oh, this is why. Because seniority is the oldest member of the dynasty, not the oldest child. So this is what was used in medieval Russia. Medieval Russia was super weird, which combined like seniority and Gavelkind. There's actually a specific mechanic for it in Crusader Kings 2 that I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called the Salic Inheritance Law, which basically means that when someone dies, the primary title goes to the oldest son, but everything else is divided equally among the family. It's very chaotic. Primogeniture, oldest child inherits. Elective monarchy. There's only one monarch, but it's always chosen by election, which means it's very possible for it to leave the dynasty. Finally, we have the special Irish law, Tanistry, where the ruler and all vassals below nominate an heir among the rulers of the dynasty. Finally, we have Ultimogeniture, which is the youngest child inherits. Now, here is our biggest issue. We have two counties. And if we check the laws... Oh, interesting. Why will you not let me check the laws for the other one? was looking at the wrong side, sorry. I could change it, make it my primary title. But this is what matters right now. How do I edit the laws for a different county? Because see, you can see if I click on here, it just talks about the county and who the different claimants are. But see, oh, okay, I see. It's only going to let us change the laws of our primary county. That makes sense. We don't really have a realm because we're not a duke. And we're limited in what kind of laws we can have here. We're now our feudal, our barons don't pay any taxes. Which means... Now, this is something to think about as you're playing your game. This is one of the most basic strategies. Is how do you want to deal with the 4 different types of relationship you're going to have within your realm? You have feudal lords, cities, churches, and then tribes. Ireland has no tribes, so we don't have to worry about tribes. The feudal lords are all the barons, and you typically want them to be providing units. Whereas you collect taxes from the city, and then what you can get from the church is fine. Like, you'll even notice, church taxation goes from no to minimum. Whereas city taxation goes from min to normal. And if we decide to impose a higher tax rate, they're going to get upset about that. Where now, clergies basically provide no vassals. Which is fine. Because again, you really want your lords to be providing most of the vassals. And so what this is each character in the game has their own levy, their own soldiers. So let's take a moment and look at one of our vassals, our baron. We don't have one. That's interesting. Okay. Well, let's look at you, Mayor. You could provide 377 soldiers if we asked for them. But you won't give me all of that because of our laws. And our laws say you only have to give me 35%. So this means we wouldn't get his full thing if we called up all of our vassals. I think that makes sense. So what this basically means is right now there's nothing we can do about this. Our successor is going to be weaker. Unless we do one of two things. We change succession laws at the ducal level, which requires becoming a duke, or we murder one of our children. And let's be honest, murder is always an option in Crusader Kings 2. But if we get caught at it, we get the Kinslayer statistic, or trait, which is really nasty. So that's a last resort. Go away. Sorry. I should probably check that message later on, and eventually I will. Right. So this is a nice warning for us to know about. We'll have to find a way to manage that, but it's going to take some time. One thing we could do would be create a duchy. So, if we take a look at our primary county, we would look at de jure. And so this tells us that we would want the Duchy of Meath. And we control 2 of the 4 counties we need for that. But we don't have all 4. So we cannot create this duchy. Yet. It would take us some time to get there. Actually, taking this county would only make us a bit stronger, but wouldn't actually help us in our attempts to reach a duchy. But once we have those 3 counties, we can maybe try to take on this Earl. He's got Gavelkin too. So, and he's also got more kids. So that's good to know. We could try murdering some of his relatives if we need to. Our heir is unmarried. So let's take this opportunity I'm going to arrange a marriage. Now, this is my heir, and I would like him to have someone that counters his weaknesses. Learning is honestly not super important in Crusader Kings 2. Because tech works in a very different way, where it just kind of like naturally progresses from one area to the next, improving that is nice, but not strictly critical. To the extent that CK2 has a dump stat, that dump stat is learning. So there are a couple of things we want to consider when marrying. One, how can we supplement our kids' stats? And two, can we get any claims to other thrones? So this would give us an aggression pact with Navarra. Now, Navarra's not going to attack us anyway, but it wouldn't be the worst thing to have. You can see, if we look at the title... How does she already have a claim to this, even though she's Navarran? What? Okay, this must be a graphical glitch. It's only listing our counties. Come on. Do none of you have any claims? Because if someone has a claim, we can see what they would have a claim. We'd actually have to click on the character, I think. Let's look at you, for example. You have a very weak claim on the Kingdom of Navarra. That's not something we're going to be likely to press very effectively. You'll notice nobody here actually has titles. This is pretty typical. It's very rare that you're going to get someone that wants to marry that already has a title. It's also very hard for women to inherit to begin with. So there's two things we want to consider. Who's most likely to become our enemy? And who is most likely to improve our son? So we want someone who is good at diplomacy first, because it's the most useful stat. Ah, you're old. You're not going to be able to have kids. We want as many kids as we can get. Otherwise, I would jump on that character pretty quickly. You're 36. Again, that's too old. Always check the traits. It wouldn't do to have, for example, marry a gay character. We're going to marry Sigrid. She's got a nice mix of diplomacy and intrigue. She's got some good traits, except for the paranoia. And it gives us a non-aggression pact with Denmark. So here's what we do. So we recommend it. We will actually gain prestige from marrying into a king's dynasty. So we're going to arrange this marriage. It looks like they'd be cool with that. So we click send. We need to pick a personal ambition. I would very much like to become King of Ireland. But let me be extremely clear. There is no way in hell that we would actually get this. We're far too weak. Let's instead settle for improving our martial ability. $500 gold is a lot. Yeah. So you can increase any stat up to 8 through these traits. So let's try to become better warriors. And we need to grant some titles. Minor titles are both practical and serve a way to improve things for us. Designated Regent doesn't actually matter all that much because both my sons are adults. I'm just gonna go ahead and make my son the regent. And you'll notice immediately that once I've done that, he likes me more. There you go. And so these are the different things that that affect personal relations. Great. Our son likes us. Does anyone dislike us? You all like me. You just like the Pope better. It's close, though. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to find a way to make Gorman like us better, so that he will give us taxes and not the Pope. Wait, is this reversed? Well, it just tells us who he's loyal to. Okay. It's really close. We need to find a way to make Gorman like us better. And there's a few things we can do. Let's talk about the character menu. We can give him a title. We can give him an honorary title. We can send him some money. We can lock him up. We can arrange a marriage or a betrothal for him, but he's a bishop and can't marry. We could assign you as a guardian to one of our children if they were old enough, and we can just murder him and hope that his next person will be a little bit nicer. Let's give him an honorary title. I think we want cupbearer. No, they're actually all +5s. High Almoner. I think that makes the most sense from a flavor standpoint. Well, bam. And then this will kick in a little bit later on. Oh no, there it is right there, yeah. So what'll happen is, you'll notice it hasn't recalculated yet. It says opinion elite 59, but in the window it says 54. This will probably get him to pay us taxes now. Is there anyone else who really doesn't like us that ought to? My son doesn't love me. You know what? Let's give you... You can be master of the horse. That seems reasonable. And the mayor. Ideally, 50 is what I like to try to get all of my vassals to be. You can be my master of the hunt. And then we need to make someone the cupbearer. Please sort by relations. Oh no, these random courtiers don't like me. You know what? Let's give it to our nephew. Please be cupbearer. Cupbearer is dangerous, though. And you don't want to give it to someone that you can't trust. Oh, we can have 2 commanders. Can we improve this? 8 isn't super great. So let's name another commander. We'd have to relieve him first. That's fine. Everything's fine. Let's talk about these other buttons up at the top before we actually unpause the game. Tech. Tech spreads throughout the realm. And being close to neighbors with high tech increases your tech spread. Once you get a certain number of tech points, you can spend them as you wish. Which I really like. And each tech offers various different benefits, which we won't get into right now, but suffice to say, it's good to know. So we're actually pretty well off, whereas if we get over to, say, India, they're not so good at tolerance. And we're going to go and click politics, so it brings us back to that. And let's get the text screen back up. So, increasing a stat changes various things. Legalism is arguably one of the most important. Is it Majesty? Majesty is really good too, actually. Because one of the things you want to do is you don't want to suffer from what's called short reign penalties. Short reign is there will be a negative buffer at the beginning just because someone is a bit old. And that can be very bad. So we don't want to be real happy about that. Here's our military. Right now our other bishop won't give us any troops because he doesn't like us enough right now. But that's okay. We can always work on an opinion later on and change that. So if we raise all of our troops, we have 924 troops under our personal control. Turn the music down just a touch. I could also just turn down my headphones. I really do love the music of Andreas of Waldetoft in general, and Crusader Kings in particular. There are mercenaries you can hire well beyond our means at this point. And we cannot raise any navies because we're landlocked. So that's what we're looking at there. You have to pay them, and they will replenish over time. Intrigue. This is where all of our court decisions are. And we can consider some of them to be more important than others. Grand hunts are always good. If you mark it as important, by the way, it'll pop up here and say you can do an important decision. Right now, though, there's not really much here that we need to bother with. Do I want to go on a grand hunt to start the game? Grand hunts can be really good, but can also be fairly dangerous. And I don't want him to die this soon into the game. Different factions, we don't have any yet. Religious. Our Pope doesn't love us a huge amount. They kind of like us. But it could be better. That's why our church dude is getting on top of things here. Oh, interesting. We get to pick successors for bishops. Where are the religious laws? Oh, don't do that. You can ask for excommunications, invasions, and divorces. How can I appoint my own... Why can't I see the religious laws? Realm laws, I can't see any of those. That's fine. Interesting. So this is one way to get rid of a child from your succession, is to nominate them to become a bishop. This is interesting. Ordinarily, you know, the religion should actually tell you what the religious laws are, but I guess for some reason I can't see those. That might be with one of the DLC, actually. And then there are no societies we can join yet, which is fine. Here's the thing. Murad, my younger son, would be objectively terrible as a bishop. Because his learning is really terrible. But the benefit is I'm going to do it. Murchad's going to hate me for that. At least he might. And then we want to have a successor ready to go. You can be this Branained guy. He seems pretty cool. There we go. So let's see how that changes our relations with our son. Is he going to be happy that I'm trying to get rid of him? We'll have to find out what happens. I think we can actually unpause the game now. And we will not go on a grand hunt. Not yet, anyway. Let's unpause And let's advance. Okay, our son is going to get married, so we can either get prestige or money. I want the money. Interesting. You notice what disappeared? We're no longer going to be penalized if our son dies. He's going to get everything. So if we look now, male is the first successor of both. And that's just how it works. I'm surprised he's actually not angrier at us for it. But look, second sons going into the military, going to the church is a fine medieval tradition. Can we afford any buildings? We not remotely can. Buildings improve domains and either improve forts or add more levies and things of that nature. Every culture has a unique building. We have Galloglass training grounds, which are pretty sweet. So we're just going to wait for things to happen right now. We've got a new person arrived at court. Oh, it's my new daughter-in-law. Hello, daughter-in-law. We have Henrik. Henrik is pretty dumb. Not gonna lie. But you're gonna get a strong claim on a random chieftain. Oh, it must be his previous wife. Oh, it's your kid. I see. These message windows, by the way, just tell you some things that are probably not super helpful. But they're still good to know about. Away we go. As an Irish count, a lot of the global events aren't really going to affect us much. Okay. So my wife wants me to get one of my courtiers. She is 15. So, she wants me to fire the marshal. So I can either tell her to get bent and she'll be unhappy with me. Or I can fire him. He's gonna hate me, but she'll love me. You know what? Shut your pie hole. I need my good marshal. Things are happening in England. Oh, the Duke of Normandy is already invaded. Interesting. You'll notice our levies here going up a bit because of the marshal. Who are you? What do you keep telling me that you're arriving at court? You're already at court, aren't you? Oh dear, my bishop, one of my bishops has smallpox. That's unfortunate. So one of the things about Crusader Kings 2, especially when you're first starting out, there's not a lot you can do. Not specifically anyway. Especially with a ruler this old. Oh shit. My son has smallpox. Were you having sex with that bishop? You're not homosexual, are you? You are not. Well, hopefully he gets over it. Some of the DLC actually let you treat illnesses. We don't have any DLC active, though. Alright. Let us... You can also build a new holding, which includes temples, cities, and castles. You can also invest in... we have no castles. That's extremely unfortunate and is going to weaken us militarily. Let's spend some cash on castle walls. It'll repay itself because we'll get additional tax income and it'll increase our levy size. There we go. Do I want to move you? Let's actually recall the steward. I'd rather him hurry up the construction. Here. There we go. And you can change message rules if there's someone that you're interested in that you'd like to learn more about. A new bird has arrived in the muse, and a new book on the art of writing poetry is in the library. So we can either become a falconer or we can read. Let's see. What sort? Are you a manly man? You are zealous, but you're also diligent. I think you'd probably be marginally better at falconry, so let's do it. Let's give it a shot. It killed many rabbits, and it attacked him once when he tried to get the falcon away. That's unfortunate. Let's go with poetry. And I'll get a bonus to diplomacy. Nice. How are things going with my peeps? Excellent. You are now providing me with cash. And troops. One of my nephew has inherited the title The Unlucky. That's not great. Oh no, you've added a third county. You're actually much more powerful now. That's unfortunate. We have a defensive pact against England. Okay. I have a grandson. Hello, Carlos. Alright. Clearly, we're not going to get this anytime soon. What if I killed your heir? What would happen to your county? See, here's the issue, though. I don't have any ties to this dynasty. I wish I had a daughter. I would totally marry him to this jerk. But that's alright. What kind of plots could we get into? I can kill one of my courtiers because I don't like them very much. That's not helpful. Summer fairs are really good ways to... I'm going to mark it as important. Are good ways to make your people happier. Oh, there we go. Let's crank it up. Can now hold a summer fair. Let's do it. Make our people happy. We invited a monkey trainer and... Oh dear. I don't want to get stressed, so I'm going to go ahead and pay a bit of gold and get some prestige out of it. Archery contest went very well. I can piss off the peasants. I can become paranoid. Or I can give him his prize that he earned. That was a Robin Hood reference, by the way. I love it. Oh dear. That's not very nice. I can either make the mayor hate me, or I can make the peasants hate me. Fine. Maybe get some prestige. And maybe wasn't as good as I would have hoped. Excellent. The Pope likes me more. Hooray. Hi, Alex. You think I'm an okay dude. And we finished our castle walls. Splendid. You'll notice taxes have gone up slightly, and the levy size is slightly higher. Okay. You've reached the age of 6. It is time to assign you a guardian. Now, assigning guardians is important because it'll affect both their stats and their traits. I would like you to become good at fighting, because you don't really have anybody. Who is the best soldier here? My nephew. He would become kind of an asshole, though. Is there anyone who's a bit nicer? I could have. It also provides a boost to opinion. My wife really doesn't like me. That's alright. Cupbearer. I would like you to teach my kid. My grandson. Can I plot to murder you? It's unlikely that we would succeed. Oh, the Pope is refusing. Which is unfortunate. But, you know, there's not much I can do to murder her. So, that's fine. We'll just pile up some cash. I'm not going to hold a summer fair this summer. You know what? Let's spice things up a bit. Let's set up a grand hunt. You can also just buy, you can always ask to buy piety by buying an indulgence. Oh, hello, rebels. Oh, dear. I was invited to a nephew's sermon, and he did a really bad job, so I'm just gonna not say anything. And he's okay with that. Oh, dear. Wouldn't that be terrible if their realm disintegrated? I can imprison someone. Bernain, what are you doing? What is your plot against me? Oh, let's check Intrigue. You want to kill my son? That won't do at all. So I can imprison him, or I can just tell him to get lost. Which doesn't actually help. Oh, I know why. Because you're going to get bishopric. Lock him up. So, I can demand he end his plot. I can simply execute him. I mean, how upset would people be? I don't want to lose piety. I also put you in the oubliette. Perfect. Done. Let's go on a grand hunt. Why can't I do it? Oh, I missed it. Whoopsie. That's alright. We're getting a decent sum now. I think it's time to invest a bit more. Why can't I get castle walls? Oh, because I would need better tech for that. You know, I really want keep 2. I think we might save for that. Or actually save up for a barracks, maybe. That might be wise. Who are you? Oh, you're my grandnephew. Assign a guardian, sure. Oh, are you a twin? No, who's your dad? I would like you to learn how to be a diplomat. Let's have the bishop teach you. There we go. We haven't even had a war yet. There's a great warrior from the east. Let's find him. God damn it, I keep missing it because we're going so quickly. That's alright. My southern neighbor also has 3 counties. I don't love that. Finally! And we're going to go ahead and end the episode here. Next episode, we're going to do a bit of a tutorial on warfare as we move one step closer to becoming a force to be reckoned with. Until then, thank you for watching up to this point. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying. I know not a lot has happened in this early portion of the game. And this is really kind of an argument to get some of the DLC at least. But again, the purpose in this is instruction more than it is to simply conquer the world. Do share comments down below. Any tips or tricks you've found helpful in Crusader Kings 2. And also let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see a new series of Crusader Kings 2 based on some of the new DLC I've acquired. Until then, this has been Avindian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.